Hello and welcome back to Finder and Keeper, the podcast. My name is Ashley. I am the host, and I'm so excited that you decided to join me again today because I am ecstatic about this conversation. Now, let me just say, today's topic is not going to be a long podcast because if you catch it, you catch it. If you don't, you don't. There's no need for it to be no 20 minutes, 30 minutes. If we make it in 5, 7, 10, we did exactly what we're supposed to do. So I want to talk about a place that we have all been. We have dreams, we have goals, or we have these prayers that are just so big. And we get to a point sometimes where we are asking God, why not now? I think I'm ready. I feel ready. I've put in the work. And today I want to talk about why the wait is not so much a no, but it is an acclamation. This weekend, my nephew, he won a fish at some event that he went to. And I remember I was looking at the picture and all I could think to myself was, oh my goodness, I hope that he does not put that fish inside of a big tank immediately. Because if I don't know anything else, I know the process of what it is like to have a fish. When I was younger, my parents would not let me have any pets. So the only pet I was able to have was a fish. And let me tell you, I had probably about 4 or 5 fish at one point living in the same tank. But I remember when I got my first fish, I remember it so clear. I got it. We got the tank, we got the food, everything. And when you win a fish at a carnival or if you get it from a pet store, it usually comes in like a plastic bag or a separate container. This fish that I had, it came in one of those small little plastic bags. And when I got home, I immediately just wanted to say, okay, here goes your new home. It's big, it's pretty, it's better than this plastic bag. I'm hooking you up. But if you have ever owned a fish, you know what happens if you do that. The shock of that new temperature and the new pH levels, all of that stuff, even though the water that it's going into is better, it can literally kill the fish instantly if you just drop it in there. You have to keep it in that little small, cramped plastic bag and float it in that big tank for quite a while. And then eventually you have to slowly add a little bit of that new water into its old environment because they have to adapt to that water. They have to adapt to that atmosphere of that big tank before they can actually live in it. And that is exactly how God handles our big dream. If He dropped you into a big tank today, whether that is a massive platform, $1 million business, or more responsibilities, the shock of that atmosphere alone could actually break you. So today on the show, we're going to talk about why you are still in that bag and how to prepare to make it into that big tank. But before we go any further, I want to give an actual definition of what is happening here. What is happening in this sea world, this aquarium world. The phrase that they use, the word that describes this, it is called drip acclimation. And I'm going to read off the definition of drip acclimation. I'm going to pull it up for you. So, by definition, drip acclimation is the process of using a small diameter tube to slowly siphon water from a target tank into a container holding a new fish, usually at a rate of only 1 to 3 drops per second. The goal isn't just to match the temperature. The goal is to gradually equalize the water chemistry. We are talking about the pH levels, the salinity, the nitrates. It is a slow motion transition that allows the fish's internal organs to adjust to a completely new atmosphere without going into shock. So, did you catch that? And if you didn't catch that, go back, take it back a couple of seconds and listen again to what the definition of drip acclimation is. It is a slow motion transition. And I think some of you listening today feel like you are stuck in that slow motion season. I myself feel like I am stuck in that slow motion season. We see this tank that we want that has the big dreams, the marriage, the career breakthroughs. And we're just wondering why God is only giving it to you one drop at a time. And we sit and we ask, God, why is it taking so long? And He's saying to you, because I am not just changing your scenery, I am changing your chemistry. He said, I'm not just changing your scenery, I am changing your chemistry. drip acclimation. Okay, go ahead and if you need to go back again and listen to it, that drip acclimation, that's the definition. Because God is not only changing your scenery, He is changing your chemistry. If He just plops you into that big leadership role, the criticism will literally kill your spirit. If He just drops you into that level of wealth that you're asking for, without the pH of discipline, the shock will ruin your character. If we look at the definition of drip acclimation, it says it takes time. Sometimes it can take up to hours sitting in a bucket on the floor while that beautiful tank that you have up on that pedestal right there above you is just waiting for you. But that bucket season is where your internal system is being retuned, it's being refined, it's being changed so that your chemistry can match where it is that God needs you to go. The drip is the mercy of God. It is those small tests, those little responsibilities, having faith in just your mundane, and that drop of your future is just being dropped right into you, siphoned right into you. And He is making sure that once we finally slide into that big tank, that we don't just look the part, but we actually have the internal chemistry to survive the environment that He's going to be putting us in. So let me just bring this home for us. If you are sitting in what feels like a bucket season, if you're looking at that big tank from a distance and you're just wondering, why you still are confined in that small space, I want you to really sit and remember the drip because we oftentimes mistake God's preparation for His rejection. And we think because we aren't in the tank yet, He's forgotten the promise. But the truth is, the small tank is where we learn how to swim. And the drip, which is those little bits of our future that He gives us, that's how we learn how to breathe. And the big tank is where we will be called to so that we can survive. So we have to go through the drip. We have to be able to maintain that small tank. And if you aren't there yet, it's not because you aren't worthy. It's literally just because your internal chemistry is still adjusting to the weight of what is coming. And if it is taking you a long time, girl, babe, that tank is massive. The tank that God has for you is massive. I'm telling you. God is too good of a father to give you a blessing that your character cannot carry. He is not moving slow. He's not. He knows exactly what He is doing. He is moving precisely on point. So before you go, I want to give you a challenge this week. Every time you feel frustrated by a delay, I want you to visualize the drip. 3 of them. 1, 2, 3 drops. And I want you to ask yourself, number 1, what is the pH God is adjusting in me right now? So is that your patience, your humility, your work ethic, your attitudes? What is it that God is adjusting in you right now? And number 2, what am I being protected from? And number 3, how can I be the best fish in this bucket today? So how can you be your best self in the current tank, in the current bucket, in the current bag that you are in today? Your time is coming. The siphoning is working, honey. The water is shifting. Don't try to jump out of the bucket and the tank before the chemistry is right, okay? Stay in the process. Trust the drip and get ready because the environment you're being prepared for is bigger than anything you have ever known, bigger than anything we have ever known. So just remember the drip. That's all you got to remember. Just remember the drip. And thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Finder and Keeper. And I hope this analogy stays with you every time you look at a fish tank or feel a little sting of I'm not just there yet. And just remember, you are not stuck. You're not stuck. You're acclimating. I'm Ashley, and I will see you in the next episode. And until then, keep growing, keep trusting, and just keep swimming. God's got you.